a truck?
Ram 1500.
Okay.
With the goodies on.
Thank you, Rich, sorry for the extra
No, that's fine.
setup. We moved to come back into public session at 9:38, and James is gonna give a brief synopsis, and then we're gonna take a vote.
So, yeah, the question is about the, position of the representative to CPCNH from the Electrical Aggregation Committee. And because this is a new, position for the town, it's there haven't been, rules set up as to how how we communicate with the select board. So going forward, that position shouldn't take any votes with CPCNH until they've cleared the question with the select board, and should abstain from voting until that time. And then as we develop our electrical aggregation plan, the tongue twister plan, we'll work out the rules of the road going forward as far as the representative to CPCNH and how that will work.
Thank you. So I will take a motion to,
I'll move, first of all, that the appointed representative of CPC to CPCNH from the town of Lyme be prohibited from voting on, within the CPCNH unless and until they obtain prior approval from the Lyme Select Board.
okay. Ben,
I'll second.
you second that, all those in favor?
And I.
David, aye.
Judy, aye. And, okay, that's approved. And now we have a second motion.
Yeah, I'll move that
David?
we appoint Judy Quinton as the CPCNH representative from the Electrical Aggregation Committee.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ben. All those in favor say aye,
And I.
David, aye.
and Judy, aye. And that is great, and she will be a great rep for us on that group, and we appreciate the time it has taken to be able to appoint her to this position.
Yeah.
And we look forward to hearing from her. And thank you for working through some of those intricacies.
Yeah, the only other thing I had was, has there been anything else about the aggregation plan? The attorney is still looking at that. We gave you a draft of that, I think.
I don't think that was part of what we heard from him.
No.
We'll
No,
give him
yeah, okay.
we'll maybe resend it to him.
Yeah, I'll resend it again and see, so that, but, yeah.
Okay, very good, thank you for the reminder.
He was off eloping, apparently.
Yes.
Is that really, is he really?
Yes, they
That's
really,
awesome.
yes, they really eloped, it was great.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. It's a true story.
Fine, okay, gets a pass.
Well, you know, it is great when you have some sticky, wicked, thorny thing you're reading to all of a sudden get this great little aside
Yeah.
as to why you
By the
got
way.
a delayed response to your question.
Now it's recorded, he's gonna be mad at me because I told his secret.
He's gonna be, the whole town is gonna be enjoying this chuckle, so that's great. All right, thank
All
you
right,
very
thank you.
much.
Thanks,
Have a good day, everyone.
Hope to not have to have you here.
That's all right, I'm not coming.
Okay, good, well.
Get out of my
every
bike in the
2
morning,
weeks.
yeah.
Come to the 4th of July parade this Saturday.
No, I'm gonna be going away.
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna miss it.
Probably gonna rain anyway.
Oh, stop, no, it
Yeah,
isn't.
right. It's
gonna be
I'm-
beautiful.
I'm glad that some people have picked up the
I am
Well, I'm
recording.
hoping everybody's so excited about the parade, they'll just march in the rain. It won't
That's it,
matter.
yeah.
That's right.
All
Take
right,
care,
thank
See ya.
you. That's 10. Now I'm hoping,
I don't see him yet.
we don't have, I did hear a phone ring, but it possibly wasn't for us.
Hang on, he's not finding my email.
Okay.
In the meantime, you could sign this. This is your mowing contract. It's signed, it's agreed, he's been paid, but,
Okay.
no, he hasn't been paid, I take that back. He's been one payment,
Okay.
but he signed it.
Okay, we're signing the mowing contract, which we have previously approved.
Yes,
Did we sign up top?
you sign right where those 3 lines are up top, yes, please, sir.
And as soon as we have our assessor on the line, excuse me, we will have a conversation. And I noticed that Jan drove in and then she left, so she may or may not be back. It's good that you've been practicing.
Well, if I had a bigger, hang on, let me go get Jordan to send it to him, because I can't find his email. Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
People have other things to do.
Well, he told us he was gonna be on the road and could be he got
Mhm.
stuck. There's a lot of construction on the road these days.
Well, be driving through Lyme too.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I was gonna say he's looking for the
Oh, for the link?
link. Thank you for signing this.
You're welcome.
Well, Mr. Adam O'Donnell thanks you even more. By the way, while we're waiting for Todd to sign on, I will tell you that I went to the old seminary with 2 of the cemetery trustees the other night, and they couldn't say enough wonderful things about Lyme Lawn Care, about Adam and his gang. And that, you know, they use just great judgment about what to mow and what not to mow, and they're so careful, and they just are
Oh, good.
so happy with that.
As you were leading up into that, I was thinking you were gonna say the Lyme Select Board.
No, sorry, they might be happy with you too, but we didn't talk about
As long as we
that.
pay the checks, pay the bills.
Yeah, so it was nice.
Have we heard if there's a lot of extra time being taken to mow around the chairs and stuff?
I haven't heard from him yet, he's supposed to be getting back to me with a little bit of information,
Okay,
you know,
I'm not terribly concerned because it isn't a huge amount, but if we
right,
continue to have more and
Right.
more.
right, and of course then there's more being added at the pond too, more stuff. Oh, there's Mr. Haywood,
Excellent.
we can't hear you.
Guess it automatically mutes me, but sorry about that, I didn't see the email. I just searched my email on my phone, so anyways, at any rate, I'm here, so
Thank you, Todd.
sorry to keep you waiting.
We're delighted to have you here. If you could walk us through this situation and give us what you think maybe what should be done and,
Okay, so going back to 2 weeks ago, the recommendation I gave you, mentioned the adjustment to the buildings in addition to the site value, because the buildings they're required to bring them up to three-season living, and of course, their infrastructure is really the basis for the reduction, most of it anyways, because of the septic that they're having to go to the expense to put in. after that, I noticed that I gave you the wrong spreadsheet that didn't include the value of the reduction in the buildings that we had discussed in that. And then additionally, Dina noticed that, or it was, maybe it wasn't Dina, but it was noticed that, that one of those lots, unit 20, 408-2220, didn't get a tax bill last year and should have. So this revised recommendation takes into consideration that one didn't get taxed and should have, so it was reducing the abatement amount by that much. And so that 75,800 is the revised assessment after reducing the site value for the lack of infrastructure in the building as well. And then on top of that, I was under the impression when I visited the property with the taxpayer's representative that we were only dealing with the condominiums, but upon the review of the abatement, there's also 2 other lots that are included that aren't part of the condominiums, and that's 408-2000 and 408-20. So those 2 lots I included in the spreadsheet as well. We didn't make any changes to those, but I did include them because they were part of the abatement, so there is that. And that raised the assessed value of those 24 properties. And consequently, the revised assessment was raised because of that as well. But the crux, I think the crux of the issue is the condominiums. And those have been revised now, and the resulting abatement would be an assessment reduction of $1,405,000, which includes, or at least, includes the fact that one did not get a tax bill and should have. So had that happened, then the reduction would be more, but it's not because of that. And then I think, trying to think what else. Is there any other questions, or am I forgetting anything here?
Todd, so the one unit 20 that didn't get a tax bill, they get a free year. I mean, we don't retroactively send out a tax bill.
That's,
Well, the Supreme Court says you have to consider all properties owned by the appellant, even whether they've been appealed or not. So
Okay.
that's what we're doing, is we're considering the fact that didn't get a tax bill. Obviously, if you didn't get a tax bill, you don't get an abatement, but you should have got a tax bill, so that offsets the amount of the abatement.
Okay,
And you could, under the law, assess a supplemental tax, but that has to be done before March 31st, so. But this, we're not doing that, we're just acknowledging that this should have been assessed at 75,800. It wasn't, so we're basically adding 75,800 into the reduction, so we're lessening the reduction by 75,800, if
Okay.
that makes sense.
and can I say
I
something?
followed that. Thank you, Todd.
I just wanna say something about the, tax bill. Laura is actually looking at that right now, because she was under the understanding that we could and should issue
A late bill.
a late bill for that. So we'll see what she comes back with. She needed to look at it
Well-
and she wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's a legal thing, but I don't see why you would need to, because if you're gonna offset the abatement by that much, there's no need for the
Well, yeah,
tax
but we
bill,
should
because
make sure we get.
it's the
late
overall
bill.
burden, but whatever you decide you wanna do procedurally.
Right.
Okay, so,
Most of us are of the mind that the law says the tax year, which is April 1st to March 31st, so that's why I'm saying
Yep.
that tax year is passed. But
Okay.
anyways, we do have the ability, since there are multiple properties owned by the same taxpayer, they can offset, the values can offset. So if one's low and one's high, the 2 offset. And you would adjust the abatement based on the total estate, as the Supreme Court said. In the Sunapee decision in the 80s, or I think it was around 1983, they have to, even if it's not under appeal, you're supposed to consider all the properties owned. And they call it the total estate, but
okay,
basically it's all the properties owned
okay.
by one taxpayer.
Thank you, Todd. David or Ben, do you have questions for Todd? Comments? We did hear from the property owner with a couple of questions. I know he would like to speak with you now. What I'd like to do, actually, since I looked at the earlier information and don't have much time to really consider this, for myself, I would like to take this next couple of weeks to really consider what we're going to do, look at
And hear back from our council.
and hear back from our council, look at what we received from the property owner, hear from the council.
I have no doubt our assessor's correct about offsetting against other properties, but I'd like to get council to confirm that, because it's a legal question, and we should make sure we don't misstep.
And,
And that's fine. I mean, I don't, you know, I don't have a problem with that whatsoever. And you can, that's why you have attorneys, is they can deal with the legal issues, but anyways. Yeah, it was a little confusing because we had to change, we changed some of the buildings and their identifications between 22 and 23, so, I mean, I did note that on my spreadsheet, so
and,
hopefully that helps out. There was two lot 13s in the original plan, so I called one 13 and 13A, and this may be more minutia than you're interested in, but there was that. And I think if Mr. Brown wants to chat, I'll be in town. Jordan has appointments for me on July 7th, next week from Friday. And if he wants to get together, that's fine.
I would
And I
like
think we
that
have it
very
all
much.
worked out since we were there again this spring. And I think we have everything at least identified correctly now, so, that's moving forward.
I would really prefer that he meet with you on the 7th, and you and he go over his specifics, you and he go over your conclusions, and then we get an update from you, and we have 2 weeks to hear from our attorney and look at all the information that we've gotten, so it's not the night before we need to make a decision that we're.
Now, and the deadline to file with either Superior Court or the Board of Tax and Land Appeals is September 1st, so
Right.
you can abate after July 1st, there's no reason why you can't, it's just, if you're silent as of July 1st, the taxpayer can consider themselves denied.
Okay.
But, you know, if they're aware that it's still on the table and we're working on it, then I don't see any reason why they would rush to
Right.
file a suit in either venue, but
Well, Todd,
it's totally up to them.
the other
Okay.
thing is, Todd, that the board has already voted on an abatement, and this is revising that, so they know that they're going to get some sort of an abatement. So they've been notified before July 1st.
So I think
Yeah,
we're good in either
I think
case.
the revised is actually more of an abatement too, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So, Mr. Brown sent us a couple of specific questions. Do we wanna go through those?
Well, that's what I was hoping that he could talk to Todd about specifically, at their meeting, but,
Well, I would like to bring those up in this meeting, and actually, I want to ask a process question first. This discussion of the change in valuation, would that apply to our November 22 tax bill? Would that be a continuing abatement request, changing the amount of tax that we were due for the November 22?
Yes, it's for the
It's- it's for
2022
the-
abatement.
So,
it's the
okay,
abatement request that you
so
made.
we're discussing an abatement for this previous
The last
tax year?
bill.
Yes, okay, that was the
You
question.
haven't gotten a new tax bill.
I realize that.
You can't
It's coming
request an
soon.
abatement.
It's coming soon, but yes,
No, 6
thank you,
months.
that's the first question. I guess, thank you, Mr. Khan, for bringing up those 3 points. Let me summarize them quickly. In November of 22, we received 23 tax bills, 2 for those separate parcels, and then 21 for the 21 parcels we were, that are in our condo declaration. In your revised list, there are 24 properties listed. And where did that 24th come from? So that's my first question. Do you want me to ask them all at once, or do you want to respond individually?
Why don't you go through them all?
All right,
So we're looking for number 24, what is it?
And I think the answer to that, if I understood Todd correctly, was that they just missed one.
Is unit 20, that's right.
That's right.
but you see, we received 23 pieces of paper in November. And one of them was 13 and one was 13A, and there was no unit 20, I agree. But now, there are 24 properties listed here. So where did that 24th come from? So that's my question. I agree with Todd that there was 13 and 13A and 20 was missing. But now there's a 22 that was not listed there, and what is that? So that's question number one.
Okay,
Never mind.
Why don't we do
Question.
one at a
All
time,
right,
'cause
I'm-
All right,
otherwise-
okay, good. Thank
But I
you.
think
Thank
this
you
is
very
a better
much.
discussion for Todd and him to have.
I
really
asked
do.
that, and
Yeah.
David wanted Mr. Brown to go
It's
ahead
just
now,
gonna get
so we're gonna go again now, but we're not gonna do this for hours, but go ahead. Todd, do you have an answer to his question?
Go ahead, so 22 is the expansion lot,
Mm-hmm,
and that was, if I remember correctly, it was identified as lot 12
Yep.
last year. And then 13A became 12 now. So it's the 22nd unit is the expansion lot, it should be just a site value only,
so,
because there are 22 units approved there,
well,
if I'm not mistaken.
that's actually not true. Our condo declaration lists 21 units. And there is, so that's true. So
What's true?
that our condo declaration lists the 21 units
Yeah.
on that one parcel plus the two other parcels. And that's 23. We received tax bills for 23 units, and the numbers were confused, I agree.
Yeah,
So-
but the map we got has 22 as an expansion lot.
So the
Okay,
county
all right,
has two
so-
lots?
So there is a bit of, it's called convertible land on the plan. And so that's that 24th unit?
I have the map in the other room you
Yes.
can look at, but
Well,
again, this is
right.
one thing
Todd,
for
do
you
you
and
know if
Todd.
that's the other unit?
That is the one that's in question, I
Okay.
do believe. I was unaware that those properties across the street were part of the condos. I thought it was just all of 40822, 1 through 22.
So, you are
I
correct.
did not make those 4 cottages across the street as part of it. Those aren't separate units. There's one parcel with 4 cottages on it, if I remember correctly. So that's,
So Todd, you're
if that's
correct.
true, then that's
No,
those
you are correct. That
this year.
there's one parcel, the 40822 parcel has the 21 condo units and the convertible land. There are 2 separate parcels that are not part of the condominium. So that part, you're correct there. So the question, one more question on that point, which is it proper or appropriate for us to receive an amended tax bill adding new things to the 2022 year?
So what I understood
Find out.
Todd to say was that we maybe couldn't send out a new tax bill,
Mhm.
but that we could take into account the fact that there was a parcel missed
Mm-hmm.
in the form of a reduction to the abatement that we would otherwise grant.
But this is a question that's in front of legal right now, so
Okay, good.
having the discussion
Thank you.
now
I wanted to clarify this.
is a bit
So-
of energy that we don't
Good.
need to spend.
That's a nice way to say it. I'll go on to number 2. Most of the units, thank you, Todd, most of the units did decrease in price between $3,000 and $5,000. One of the units went up by $4,300. And what's the explanation for that? It hasn't had any hasn't had any modifications to speak of.
Is that the one that was under renovation, that used to be the staff house?
No, no, we'll come to the staff house in a minute.
That's a really good conversation to have with Todd when you meet with him on the 7th.
Good.
I think I'm sort of inclined to agree with
Okay,
Vicky. I thought we
good.
could hash this out here.
Nope.
But this stuff, we're getting so far into the weeds, it's better for you guys to meet. And then if there's stuff that is unresolved, where there's a continuing disagreement after
Yep.
you guys sort of hash through it, then that could come to us.
Good. So let me take 30 seconds and list my last question, which I'm sure you'll get from the select board, but the one that is called the staff cabin, it was appraised at $82,000. We believe its value is much less than that. Certainly back in April of 2022, and so there again, I guess we'll have to have that discussion.
Have that discussion
All
with
right.
him and.
Thank you.
and Thank you, I
and-
think,
And so Todd will make a recommendation back to the select board, and the select board will vote on a final tax bill. Am I correct?
A final
an
abatement.
abatement.
Final, I guess a final
Yes.
abatement, which will feedback, yes. Thank you very much.
You're
I
very
appreciate it.
welcome. Thank you. So Todd, we need to make sure that when you come up, Mr. Brown has an appointment.
Well, I'll ask Jordan to set one up.
Mhm.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thanks, Todd.
Thanks for
Thank
being
you, Todd.
with us.
Yeah, she has one scheduled, so, yeah, I'll let Jordan work that out, because I don't wanna have any conflicts.
Yep.
She's on the meeting, so she sees that she has an assignment. and
Oh,
she
good.
hears it.
Okay, we
Sorry, I
appreciate,
walked away from the desk for a minute.
Oh,
okay. We appreciate your time, Todd, and hope that you and Rich Brown have a very fruitful conversation, and we look forward to an update, hopefully, not the night before the meeting, but.
Right, okay, that makes sense, and I'll see Mr. Brown a week from Friday.
Thank you, Mr. Haywood.
Thank you, perfect.
Okay,
thanks.
all right, have a good 4th, if there's nothing else.
There isn't, and
Thanks,
thank
Todd.
you, you too. And
All
thank
right.
you. That's very helpful that you can meet
Yes,
with him,
it is great.
and we get,
Good,
I have a question.
yes.
Where's Hollywood and Dollywood?
Yes, well, so do you know what Wikipedia wood is? Wikipedia is some shrub native to the Northeast, but I had to look it up on Wikipedia because, yeah, I mean, I didn't pick the names. Blame Paul and Judy
We just
Barker.
talked about that, didn't we?
oh, I think it would have been her parents probably.
Well, yes.
Way back,
Blame the Fultons, what the heck?
there you go. Oh, okay, very good. I say, phew.
We done?
We have,
Wow.
the public session is done. We have a couple of personnel issues that we need to do in non-public session. So this time,
Okay,
we thank you very much, and you've been very courteous.